Welcome to the second pitching video of my story. Today I will be talking about the first story I have submitted to the contest, a spy action story. For one thing, don't you think spy is a genre that's rather rare in animes? I mean, in Western movies there's always one coming out once a year or two, and it's not like these movies aren't known in Japan. Yet to this day, the amount of spy animes can still be counted on one hand. This pitch is for the novel story I am writing, with the goal that it may help raise the standard quality of light novel industry, which is one way I see how I can help the anime industry. For more info, please watch my series on the topic if you had not watched it, and if you are interested in joining in the efforts, please also check out the Premise Factory playlist afterward. So let's just dive in and see what I have in store then. Soft spoiler warning for volume 1 and 2. Junya, Reisuke, and Chika are a group of friends who came to visit Chika's brother Yusaku at the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building. At the building, while they were separated from Chika and Yusaku, Junya and Reisuke suddenly spotted a demon-like figure falling from the building before an explosion goes off and they realize they are being dragged into a terrorist bombing attack. Getting split up once more, Reisuke runs into the demon-like figure once again as it is fighting against a man using strange gadgets. Trapped in a room with them, Reisuke ended up helping the man fight the monster and managed to repel it, though at the cost of the man sacrificing himself to protect him. In his dying breath, the man entrusts a pin to Reisuke. On the other hand, Junya also tries to navigate his way through the building and trying to find Chika, but he spotted a ninja boy scouting the area and saved him from falling debris, though the ninja boy just simply left him without thanking. Eventually, Junya and Reisuke made their way out of the building and was able to regroup, though they find that Chika and Yusaku remains missing inside. Apart from re-entering, they had no choice but to wait to no avail. After the incident, Chika and Yusaku are both pronounced dead, causing Junya and Reisuke's relationship to also become stranded. One day, a pair of ninja siblings broke into Junya's house and tries to capture him, seemingly for the sake of erasing his memory that he ever saw the ninja boy, but stopped when he revealed that he also saw the demon-like thing that day. Believing Chika to actually be dead, Junya recognized this as a chance that these ninjas may be able to find the culprit behind the bombing that day and take revenge on her. So he asked the siblings to take him into their organization. Believing he could not possibly win, the sister offered him a challenge, a parkour foot race against her, to which Junya managed to snatch a win, therefore gaining his entrance into the Guanbu, alternatively known as the MSS, the spy organization of China. On the other side, a gentleman approached Reisuke, stating himself to be a spy from Mi6, and that the man who fought alongside Reisuke back at the Tokyo Metropolitan Government Building was a close friend of his, and by giving him the pin, it means the man intends for Reisuke to take his place in Mi6. As he actually believes Chika to still be alive somewhere, Reisuke thinks this is an opportunity that he may be able to find out Chika's true whereabouts and accept it. Chika, on the other hand, wakes up inside a digital space where several spies appear before her, claiming themselves to be agents of the NSA, and that they have retrieved her body from the Metropolitan Government Building, and in exchange for saving her life, they have decided to make her their new experimental digital human, as the NSA new weapon that will allow them to hack and control absolutely any computers on Earth. Seeing no choice as they are the ones keeping her on the lifeline, Chika has to agree to become a weapon for them. So now all three of them has to set out to solve this mystery behind who caused this bombing incident that day and defeat the mysterious conspiracy. To first explain is that while each spy organization in this story are all based on real spy organizations, they are all stylized to fit with the anime aesthetic, along with each of them having unique conventions for both their code names and real names. Sekiguchi Junya, Dojo, the first protagonist, a sporty boy who joined the Guanbu to try and catch the culprit of the bombing incident. As a ninja, he used a Chinese straight sword together with kunai, shuriken, and other large assortment of ninja gadgets and other tools for Japanese and Chinese martial arts. His side of the story is focused on action stealth, like Solid Snake or Ethan Hunt. He can more than enough handle his own in a fight, but understand that sneaking around to dismantle the enemy's forces is more effective. Omori Reisuke, Romeo, the second protagonist. An otherwise meek boy who joined the Mi6 to find Chika, he can often have issues with his self-confidence, a problem he will have to overcome to become a full-fledged spy. In Mi6, he used a vast array of gadgets, but most notably is his stun sword hidden inside an umbrella, a custom Walther PPK pistol, a utility watch with multiple functions such as lockpicking and metal detection, and a pair of smart glasses. If Junya is Solid Snake, Reisuke is a less horny James Bond. His story is more focused on using charisma and tactics to achieve his goals, though he can also handle very well on his own in combat with his gadgets. Toda Chika, Spica, the third protagonist, a smart girl who had her body completely wrecked in the incident, and so now has her consciousness transferred into a computer, where she becomes a digital human designed to be the omnipotent hacking weapon for the NSA. While reluctant, she agrees to it since it is her best bet to find the whereabouts of her brother, who is also now missing, though at the condition that she will never use her power to kill a human being, and therefore act mostly as a mission control. Her side of the story is based on mission control, support, surveillance, and politics. While in theory, she is powerful enough to hack and take over all the nukes and military software, she is the only one who swore never to directly harm anyone. Instead, she engages in information warfare and is focused on both exposing and covering up information to attain her goals. Toda Yusaku, Vasily Arkhipov, Iridich, Chika's older brother and a young man aiming to become a politician for the sake of bettering the world. He was at Metropolitan Government Building for an internship for his degree in laws. Though after the bombing incident, he is reported dead, but his body was actually never identified, so his fate is actually a mystery. He appears in Volume 1 as the mysterious super soldier Arkhipov of the GRU, and starting from Volume 2, becomes another POV protagonist in his own right. After the bombing incident, he was taken in by the GRU and has his left arm and both legs replaced, turning him into a cyborg. He joins the GRU willingly, adopting the name Vasily Arkhipov as his official name and Iridich or Iridium as his code name. His left arm Tugarin has high-powered flamethrower equipped in it, while his shotgun Korinich can create ice blast. So he's a cyborg Todoroki. Though unlike the other three protagonists, he took to the GRU very naturally, suspiciously so. Why that is will be a mystery for you to find out later. On his side, if Junya is Solid Snake, you can say he's right in. He is hands down easily the most powerful of the four in direct combat, which is appropriate since he's also the most likely to run into nanomachine-powered politicians. The Spy Organization of China. They are stylized as a group of practitioners of martial art from around Asia. Though for the sake of Junya and the two characters he hang around the most, you'll see them most prominently as ninjas. The Guanbu characters have codenames after animals, a reference to the Metal Gear series. Hattori Tetsuka, Ma Feng, a ninja agent of the Guanbu who infiltrated Junya's house to try and erase his memories of having ever saw them in a terrorist incident. She was the one who gave him the foot race test, intending to break his will and trying to become one of them, though she ended up losing, so she had to begrudgingly take him in as a trainee. In Volume 1, she consistently is against having Junya around and continued to urge him to quit. Hattori Shuuta, Shin King, another ninja agent of the Guanbu and Setsuka's younger brother. He's more supportive of Junya being in Guanbu than his sister, because he wanted someone closer to his age as a friend due to everyone else in Guanbu looking down on him. It is also the reason he can be eager to try and establish some credits to his name. Xian, introduced in Volume 2, the leader of the Guanbu, a martial artist master who runs operations from his secret base in the Shaolin Temple. Junya recognized him as an old Hong Kong Kung Fu movie star who was popular in the 50s to 60s. Mao Aozhi, the president of China, the alleged grandson of Mao Zedong, and by proxy, the leader of Guanbu. He is a strong man who rules China with an iron fist. the iconic spy organization of the UK. Appropriately, they're the James Bond-style martini-drinking, classy high society people, with most of them even having their civilian identities as celebrities, so they are the spies that relies most on charisma. They are all named after English writers, or the code names are derived from Shakespearean characters. Fleming Lancaster, Coriolanus, the agent who came to Reiski's house and invited him into MI6, offering to become his mentor in espionage, battle, and becoming a gentleman. His civilian identity is that of a world-class pianist, and he owns a personal yacht that can also act as a submarine. He is named after the author of James Bond novels, Ian Fleming. Jane Austen, Katherina, an agent who is a world-class stage magician for her civilian identity. She joined up with Reiski and Coriolanus in the mission to find the mastermind of the bombing incident. Fitting of her occupation, she used stage magic-like effects in battle, though how much of it is her own tricks and how much of it is MI gadgetry is unknown. She is named after the author of Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. Alfred Doyle, King Lear. Introduced in Volume 2, the director of MI6 who was first against Reiski joining the MI6, but is more willing when he saw his deed at the end of the first book. His orders are absolute, that no one in MI6 would defy him. He is named after the author of Sherlock Holmes books, Arthur Conan Doyle. Carl Dickens, Hamlet. Introduced in Volume 2, another young MI6 agent in training, being a protege directly under King Lear. His family too was killed by someone related to the Grand Conspiracy Organization, so he sees Reiski as a rival, potentially to steal his credits. He is named after the author of The Christmas Carol and Oliver Twist, Charles Dickens. The spy organization of the US. They are stylized as cyberpunk hackers. They are known for monitoring the hell out of everything, and in the spirit of Murka, they also tend to stick their nose into other countries' business for the sake of dispensing some freedom, though in a more covert and manipulative way as opposed to the more upfront CIA, which can be good or bad, you decide. They are named after scientists of the Manhattan Project, and their codename comes from stars. Vecta, an advanced AI accompanying Chica into digital space. Having previously been the NSA's main digital analyst mission control prior to Chica, though upon Chica's arrival, you can say that it is rendered obsolete and now only serves to keep Chica company. Klaus Fuchs, Russell Hogg, an agent who first appeared to Chica when she woke up. He's NSA's man of action, actually being a genetically modified super soldier from GRU who officially transferred to the NSA. He is a smooth-talking playboy, though Chica had some bad feelings about him, and in return, he claimed he isn't interested in little girls. He's named after Klaus Fuchs. Lawrence Ernest, Pollux, an overweight engineer agent of the NSA who built gadgets for other NSA agents, including a robot rover body for Chica to use on the field. He is a kind-hearted man and, despite his looks, can actually kick some ass when required too. He is named after Ernest O. Rollins. Ricardo Feynmann, Arcturus, the cowboy uncle of the NSA, a senior agent and former US Navy SEAL captain and Iraq War veteran, yet he thoroughly despised the corruption within the White House. He's, well, a cowboy with a cyberpunk weapon in the modern world. That should tell you enough. And yes, he's modeled after Overwatch McCree. He is named after Richard Feynman. Julius Oppenheimer, Fomalhaut, the director of the NSA, a man with some grand plans for the NSA, though he is otherwise completely unreadable. His individual plans seem to be agreeably in favor of humanity, yet Chica always have an ominous feel to them, and feel like not wanting to follow his orders as long as she still can't tell what he is thinking. He's named after the father of the atomic bomb, J. Robert Oppenheimer, and yes, his design is derived from Lex Luthor. The spy organization of Russia. They are stylized as cyborgs and mad scientists, claiming their science is the best in the world. They are named after Russian cosmonauts and space engineers. Valentina Tereshkova, Denis, an agent of the GRU and the lover of Russell Hogg, as both of them were raised together by the GRU to work as pairs. She rides a transformable motorcycle named Sputnik that also comes equipped with an AI equally as advanced as Vecta. She is named after Valentina Tereshkova, the first woman in space. Kostya Tsiolkovsky, Osmiy, an agent of GRU, partner of Arkhipov, another genetically modified super soldier acting as the handler to keep Arkhipov from going out of line. She uses electricity-based gadgets such as stun traps and rifles. She is named after Konstantin Tsiolkovsky, the Soviet rocket scientist and pioneer of the astronautic theory. Kerim Kerimov, Vodaro, the leader of the GRU and the president of Russia, a cyborg man with weapons built into his body. He has a hammy personality to accentuate his strongman image. He is named after Kerim Kerimov, the founder of the Soviet space program. Another spy organization of America. They act more as grounded and less shady version of the NSA, while also being a rival organization to them. It's liking how they are the source of the bad reputations towards American spy organizations. Despite that, it's not like they themselves don't have shady dealings in the past, which they may or may not still be involved with. Similarly, all characters in the CIA are named after Manhattan Project people and use codename after stars. Erica Fermi, Capella, the director of the CIA, a no-nonsense woman who believed the NSA is a threat or will self-destruct and expose America to outside danger, and swore to expose them before that could happen. She is named after Enrico Fermi. I actually want to introduce some other spy agencies along with some villains too, but what with this being a spy story, any of that would just be too big a spoiler. And then there's also the mysterious monster Junya and Reisuke encountered in the building, though just what it is, of course, it's also a spoiler that I won't be giving away here. The core concept of this story is to be a political thriller. Notice how fantasy animes frequently involve kings and nobles, yet hardly ever actually touches on the politics on how they run their countries. We know how good or bad a king is just by how good or bad they treat the protagonist. We are just flat out told how a king is good or bad, but never what his tax policies are. If you are to think a nobleman is evil, it will only be because he wanted to usurp power for himself. This story is meant to be different from that. It tackles many problems from rigged elections, war on drugs, mass surveillance, social credit system, an otherwise good country funding a banana republic, Project MK Ultra, mass censorship, foreign interference, Brexit, propaganda and posing as news network, tribalism, and so much more. Yeah, even including how several countries made a pandemic and the basic need to save their countrymen into a political issue. I know a lot of people think you shouldn't put politics into entertainment, but to be honest, I personally feel like politics is what made a lot of spy fiction be able to go beyond just mundane popcorn flick. Hell, even Metal Gear Rising, the game where you have characters saying this,
it's controlled by something greater, means the DNA of the soul,
is politically charged. Especially in this case, I'll be showing that every spy organization, considering they are, spies, actually have skeletons in their closet. They all have unsavory secrets and plans neither you nor the characters, including some who may have served the organization their whole life, actually agrees with. And I mean, just going off 2020 alone, it already gave me a lifetime worth of material to work with. To the extent that, many people complained that 2020 would be unbelievable if they saw it happen on a movie screen. But because of that, I will have to be upfront that it will criticize American, Chinese, Russian, and British governments. Which, well, for one, means it's going straight into the CCP's ban list. That can't be helped. I know they're not the type of people who can be reasoned with, and I just don't feel like self-censoring on this one, considering how touchy the CCP is on everything. Though I want you to understand that by this, I mean it is criticizing the actions of the government. The story isn't meant to criticize the people of those countries. Well, not at all anyway, since it's gonna be hard not to show how they are being controlled by their governments. My point is, While my view is clear that the governments of these countries are corrupt and selfish, the culture of those countries bears no sense, and there can also be plenty of innocent and perfectly goodwill people in these countries. But I know a lot of people won't take it that way because we live in an age of tribalism, and it's easy to demonize anyone who just showed the slightest hint of disagreement. I mean, it was one of the reasons why the story barely takes place in Japan, since one of the things I do know is a take on modern Japanese politics is itself also a big risk. And I mean, at least I'm not trying to go the SAO gate route where they just outright say that Japan is the best, everyone else is evil or stupid. I want to be able to criticize those government, but not as one-dimensional heat sink. Like good villains, I don't want to write them as straw man. The message is that the governments, regardless of countries, are run by people. People who may not have their countrymen's best interest in them, but will have to project themselves as generous and caring, because that's the only way they can stay in power and amass even more power to themselves. I mean, I'm from Thailand, and ever since I was 6 years old, we had not had a single prime minister who wasn't corrupt. Our country is in a state of constant protest. We didn't have freedom of speech exactly because our government wanted us to just blindly follow them. So let's say I don't really have a good image of any governments at all. So the ultimate message of this story is the importance that us, the common people, be willing to use critical thinking and willing to doubt any authority. That the government is not the same thing as the country. And if you truly love the country, you must be willing to acknowledge that the government can be in for themselves more than for the sake of the people, the principles, or the world. And when that is in case, you must also be willing to fight against it. But at any rate, I think being willing to tackle politics, to tackle serious issues, is also an important step for anime to take in order to be taken seriously. After all, if J-drama and kaiju movies can tackle politics, why can't anime and light novels? Kingsman. There's no need to even deny. I watched Kingsman, the Secret Service, and simply thought, why aren't there any spy animes like this? I mean, Metal Gear has always been massively popular, right? Well, of course that was back in 2016, and since then, my arguments have been proven wrong. But it doesn't change the fact that James Bond-esque flashy spy genre is quite lacking within anime media, despite being such a perfect fit for it. And like always, it's also the fact that certain spy organizations like Guam, GRU and so forth hardly feature even in Western spy movies. Though to be honest, yeah, when I watched James Bond film, I never really thought about wanting to write a spy story. Though that may just be because I grew up in Daniel Craig's era where all the tools have been grounded and not as cartoony. Contrast with Kingsman that embraces his cartoonishness to the walls. It's no wonder that this is the one I saw and thought, hey, so maybe this style could work in anime form. I had ideas of writing such a story ever since watching the first Kingsman, and drafted the concept and character sheets for the whole story, but did not take to writing right away. But that is exactly why when I had to start writing it, namely when I decided to enter it into the contest because the two other stories I had at hand wouldn't make it, so I have to write something new from scratch in a month, I was able to do it without a hitch. I submitted this story to the contest first, and when it returned, it was widely praised for the unique gimmicks in the multiple POVs and the deep world building delivered exactly through those POVs. But it was turned down for three main reasons. Firstly, because the judge thought the multiple POVs diluted the screen time given to each character, and the second because they didn't like that the main antagonist of the first volume wasn't the big mastermind of the conspiracy. And therefore, the third and biggest disappointment the judge stated was that they felt this meant I don't know how to end a story. That having the final boss not be the conspiracy's mastermind made the ending feel anticlimactic. In other words, all three of these reasons would not have been an issue if the judge acknowledged that the story was meant to be a series, not something that ends in one book. The story was meant to continue, the POVs would be getting more screen time, and they were meant to go on and fight the mastermind of the conspiracy in an even bigger climactic event. That's how series work! Because otherwise, imagine what would happen if I followed their wishes. Make the big mastermind go down in the first volume, and when they decide to publish the story and tell me to write a continuation after this, what would happen? I'd be having the protagonist fight lesser members of the conspiracy, which just means it won't be as tense anymore. Or introduce a whole different conspiracy which would just feel like a rehash. Or I would have to say, so, turns out this guy you defeated, he wasn't the mastermind. Which would just feel cheated. The series prematurely climaxed from book 1. There's no need to read on anymore. It's already peaked. Nothing's gonna be as good. So tell me, if you are an industry that derives 90% of your income on series, was this supposed to be a smart option? This is overall a balanced story with everything. You have your action, character drama, and plot. It has a moments of tackling 2 real issues, and it has moments of campy spy adventures. Despite tackling very heavy-handed social issues, I do try to approach it from a neutral standpoint, as to not be controversial for controversial's sake. Though, yeah, when discussing issues like war on drugs, corrupt politicians, and the dystopia China is becoming, it's gonna be hard not to take sides. As for world building, this is a case where a lot of the exposition is required, even though it's not me who is building the world. It's just that when you're explaining international politics to the intended Japanese audience, the description is gonna be long. As for plans, I have currently written up to volume 5 of this story and estimate that it will take it to at least up to volume 12 to be able to cover all the topics I have chosen to. But currently I have to pause and keep the plans flexible because we do live in a very politically volatile time where one major event that should have been the political crisis of the decade becomes overshadowed by something bigger that came out. I mean, again, just coming off 2020 alone, you could easily have written 5 separate apocalypse stories. That is why currently I have to stop and wait to see things unfold further first before I can continue writing. I mean, who knows if 2021 might end up being even a bigger hellscape than 2020. Additionally, I am also not married to this title since it's long, unwieldy, and can't really be abbreviated the way other ridiculously long light novel titles at least can be. I used to consider simpler words like espionage or fake out as a title, but then that also sounded too vague for my liking. I don't know what else to title it, especially since it's hard to find words that represent all the POVs well. I want something that captures the essence of the POVs while also having its global feel to reflect the fact that it's not gonna be limited to just Japan. I tried digging the dictionary of spy lingo, but since real spy lingo has to be, you know, subtle as to not get caught, I also weren't able to find anything that would sound cool. So if you have any good ideas for an alternative name, that would be greatly appreciated. Anyway, so that would be all for NSA, MSS, and Mi6, or whatever it will be called in the future. If you like this story, please check out my Patreon and change.org page and show support. Like and share this video to anyone who might be interested. If you are interested in becoming the illustrator for this story, then please hit me up on Discord. Next week will be a premise factory where I'll be giving ideas for premise for free in case you want to try and dip your hand into the writing career. Then for the next pitching video, we'll be digging into more political intrigue, though this time in a fantasy setting with mechas in Samudra Manthan. If you are interested, please subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when it is released. Thank you for watching.